Hello and welcome to the channel of Ashaliach once again. Trust that God is blessing you. Today is the 24th of September 2024. Okay, I had no intention of putting out a message today, but something I was reading this morning led to a number of thoughts. And so I thought to myself, I'll put this out there for your attention and consideration. So, as some of us may know, there has been this letter that has been released by the Biden-Harris Department of Justice regarding a bounty on Donald Trump's head. So I want to begin just by reading a couple of things here regarding this letter, and because I do believe that there is some similarities in Scripture with regards to what's happening. So bear with me. So this article is from justthenews.com politics. So anyway, Donald Trump Jr. said Monday the Justice Department releasing the bounty letter from his father's second would-be assassin put former President Donald Trump's life even more at risk. Now, this is a letter that's been written by the guy who was involved in the last attempt on Donald Trump's life, and that comes out here. Ryan Ruth, who faces federal charges in connection with an apparent assassination attempt against Trump earlier this month, wrote a note months prior indicating his intentions to kill GOP presidential nominee, according to a court filing released Monday. Trump Jr. said that releasing the letter is dangerous. For the life of me, I do not understand why the Kamala Biden Department of Justice is publicly releasing a letter from Ryan Wesley Ruth announcing a $150,000 bounty on my dad's head, Trump Jr. told the Daily Wire. They're putting his life even more at risk with this reckless decision. The letter is part of evidence federal prosecutors submitted in a hearing Monday to support continuing Ruth's pre-trial detention. Ruth has not been charged with attempted assassination. This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you, reads the handwritten letter. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job, and I will offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. Routh is allegedly the second attempted assassin of Trump after Thomas Crooks shot Trump in the ear during a July rally in Butler, PA. One man was killed and two others were injured during that shooting. So, let me just get back to my screen. You know, there's been stories coming out about 5 hit squads that have been activated to assassinate Donald Trump. 5 hit squads. So, I mean, these are undoubtedly going to be professional killers. So that is bad enough, knowing that you've got hit squads coming after you. But when I read this article about this letter being released, I mean, I'm sure you guys have made the same connection that I made. As soon as I heard that, I said to myself, anybody that is desperate, anybody that is really struggling and is in the deepest of pits, and they're saying to themselves, I've got nothing whatsoever, no money, no life, no hope, no future. But now here's an opportunity where I could potentially make $150,000. There's a lot of desperate people out there, a lot of desperate people. And Trump continues to hold rallies. And tens of thousands of people turn up at these rallies. What are the chances that you end up with 4, 5, 10, 20, 30 desperate people making their way to one of these rallies in an attempt to get this money? They could be so desperate and they're saying to themselves, the chances of me getting away with this is very slim. But if I get caught, I've got no future anyway. I've got no life as things stand. So I might as well go the whole way. see if I can pull it off. It is absolutely reckless, but I would say it's actually a little bit more sinister. It's deliberate. The enemy is doing everything he possibly can to prevent Trump getting this election, winning this election, and he will win it. There's no doubt about that at all. So they're stirring up people to potentially pick up a weapon and go and kill President Donald John Trump, or at the very least, prevent him from carrying out his rallies, putting a spanner in the works, so to speak, scaring him off, make him terrified. Oh, you've got all these people after you now, you've got 5 hit squads, and now you've got any desperate person who will potentially attempt to kill you. This is insanity, it's madness. Now, I recently put out a message on the 11th of September, I believe it was. It was called, I will I will send a spirit of madness upon them. You might want to go and just listen to that if you haven't heard it, because I believe this is a spirit of madness. It is utter insanity. There is no question about that at all. What is happening is just completely insane. But when I read the article, when I seen it, and it was only just maybe an hour and a half ago I was reading the article, what came to my mind was Nehemiah chapter 6. Now, I've been over this before, but I want to read this section to you in light of what is going on. Now, Nehemiah was the cupbearer under King Artaxerxes, the Persian king, and that was around about the middle of the 4th century BC. But his job, he takes it upon himself to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. He finds out that there are people living in Jerusalem, but the walls are broken down. And he wants to rebuild the walls. He wants to build Jerusalem back up to its former glories. He wants to make Jerusalem great again. He wants to make Jerusalem great again. There's an individual who wants to make America great again. Parallel. But Nehemiah comes under continuous attacks and oppression and persecution as he sets about the rebuilding of these walls. But he's determined to let nothing stop him. He wants to restore Jerusalem. Now, there's 3 people that are a real thorn in Nehemiah's side, and they are called Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem. These guys were governors under the Persian king, regional governors under the Persian king, Iran, modern day Iran. Now, I'm just giving you this information as just something of note. I'm not saying anything else. I'm just giving it out as some background information. But let's go to Nehemiah chapter 6, because this is what came right into my mind. I'm going to start in verse 10, Complete Jewish Study Bible. One day, when I went to the house of Shemaiah, the son of Delaiah, the son of Mehetabel, where he was confined, he said, "Let's meet together in the house of God inside the temple, and let's shut the doors of the temple. For they are going to come and try to assassinate you. Yes, they will come at night to kill you." Now, this is Shemaiah speaking to Nehemiah. He's almost like giving this prophetic word. He says, you need to lock yourself away. You can't be out in public. He says, they're going to come. They're going to assassinate you. They're going to come tonight. Putting fear into Nehemiah, or attempting to put fear into Nehemiah. Look how Nehemiah responds in verse 11. I replied, should a man like me run away? Can a man like me go into the temple to save his life? I refuse to go in. Dedicated to the task. that he has set himself, that he believes God has sent him to do. I'm not going to hide away. I'm getting on with the job of making Jerusalem great again. Nothing's going to put me off. Verse 12. Then I realized that God had not sent him, that he was making this prophecy against me, and that Tobiah and Sanballat had bribed him to say it. Tobiah and Sanballat, political people, governors under the Persian king, modern day Iran, had set up Shemaiah to bring this message to Nehemiah, to try and get some fear into him, to make him walk away from the task that he had set him. They did not want Jerusalem being restored to its former glories. They were absolutely determined to make sure there is no way this work would be completed. And as we read on, we find out why they were desperate to stop this work. Verse 13, he had been hired to frighten me into following his suggestion and thus sin, so that they would have material for their unfavourable report about me and could taunt me with it. Oh, you're a coward, you're a coward. My God, remember Tobiah and Sanballat according to their deeds. Also the prophet Noadiah and the other prophets trying to intimidate me. Many false prophets today, and a lot of people consider the modern mainstream media to be nothing but false prophets, but also a bunch of false prophets in the political sphere as well as the religious sphere. Verse 15. So the wall was finished on the 25th day of the month of Elul in 52 days. Now, this is just something I want to put out there, just something I noted. Nothing more than that, just something I noted. I'm not saying anything at all. But the 25th day of the month, Elul, for me anyway, is tomorrow. It's the 25th of September. And I thought that was quite interesting, but nothing more than interesting. I don't have any prophetic insight. I'm not saying this is going to be prophetically significant. I just thought, as I was reading this passage, I thought, when is Elul 2024? And it began September the 3rd, and it finishes on October the 2nd. But the 25th day of the month, Elul, equates to the 25th of September 2024 for us. Verse 16, when all our enemies, see, the work's been completed. Let me just read that again, verse 15. So the wall was finished on the 25th day of the month Elul in 52 days. Nehemiah had been successful in the rebuilding of the walls to make Jerusalem great again. Verse 16, when all our enemies heard about it and the surrounding nations became afraid, our enemies' self-esteem fell severely because they realized that this work had been accomplished by our God. Nehemiah was successful in the task that he had for making Jerusalem great again. And when the enemies heard about it, it says all the nations became afraid and their self-esteem dropped severely. They were shattered. They were distressed. They knew they had failed. And it goes on to say, because they understood, the enemies understood this was a work of God. Now, I just find all that very, very interesting, which is why I thought I'd jump on and make this video and just put it out there for encouragement, because I can see so many parallels there with Trump and his attempts to make America great again, and I believe he will. It is incredible how the word of God just springs into your mind when you're least expecting it. So anyway, friends, I put it out there for your consideration. I hope, if nothing more, it gives you some encouragement and encourages you to press even more into the Lord, to get deeper into His Word, because He comes out with some incredible things, just totally out of the blue. Anyway, until next time, may the Lord bless you.